Hello for anybody here. We're going to get started in a couple minutes, but you are in the right place. We're going to wait for a couple more people to trickle in, but I'll check in a couple minutes. But you are in the right place, and welcome. Hello, everyone. You are in the right place. Welcome. We're actually going to just give a couple more minutes here as some people are still trickling in. So stay put, and I'll be back in just a couple minutes to get going. But we'll wait for just a couple more people to trickle in here. Okay, everyone, hello and welcome. I'm sure a couple people are still kind of trickling in, but I thought I would just introduce myself and get you guys acquainted with this system here. Some of you have already noticed that we have a little chat box. So this is interactive. I want you guys to ask me questions. So feel free to enter anything you have questions on, anything like that, into this chat box. If you're on your computer, it's going to be to the right-hand side of the presentation. If you're on your phone, it's going to be at the bottom below the video. So type any questions into there. And then also make sure you stay tuned until the very end, because we're going to have an offer at the end of this presentation. All righty. So I'll introduce myself. I'm Dr. Kara Slater. I am a physician here at Desert Wellness Center, and I love hormones. Just absolutely my jam. It's what I do every day in my office. So I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about hormones, my favorite topic. All right, so I think let's get started. So first of all, thank you for joining us. We so appreciate it. And as some of you had asked, there is a recorded version that you will get sent via email tomorrow. So if you have to leave early, that's an option. But like I said, stay till the end because we have a special offer at the end of this presentation. So hormones, basically, it's all about balance. And when we get your hormones balanced, we are able to slow down your aging process. We're able to combat chronic disease. We're able to improve your quality of life. And we're able to get you feeling back to your best self again. So that's my goal for this presentation, is hopefully that by the end of it, you're going to feel really empowered to be feeling like your very best self. All right, why are you here today? Well, if you look at any of these pictures and they might resonate with you, then you're definitely in the right spot. So feeling tired all the time, fatigue, right? Like you just can't get out of bed, weight gain, putting on those pounds, anxiety or depression, kind of these mood changes. What about hot flashes and night sweats? Libido is huge. I have so many people come into the office and they're like, my libido has gone just down the drain, or basically no sex drive at all. The other thing, what about ladies? Are we getting up several times at night to go pee and then not able to get back to sleep? Insomnia, all of these things, if any of them resonate with you, basically they could all have one common symptom, one common solution, which is a hormonal imbalance. So if any of these sound familiar, you're in the right place, and we're going to talk about some of the solutions. I would say that a huge amount of my patients come in initially into the office because they're starting to gain weight, and it's in places where they don't want it, usually right around the midsection. They haven't changed their exercise routine, their diet, and it's like all of a sudden the pounds are packing on, and it's so frustrating. And it's like, what is going on? Well, it easily could be an underlying hormonal condition that's making it really hard for you to lose that weight, even when you're putting in all the work. And when we get things balanced, oftentimes it makes things so much easier for you to start shedding those pounds. We can create a good plan and actually have some success. This slide here, I like to show that the hormones are affecting how we can put on our weight, but it's not usually this clear cut that one type is going to look one way. We oftentimes have a mix of our imbalances. What about age? It doesn't really matter. Whenever we think hormones, I feel like a lot of us are thinking teenagers, right? And then we think menopause, and that's kind of our main hormonal pieces. Hormones are affecting our body from when we are in the womb all throughout our lives. So at any point, this system can get off balance, and it really starts in the brain. So here's this picture. Oh my God, don't freak out. I wanted to show you this picture mostly so that you can see that our bodies are doing so many reactions throughout the day, and really that they're all connected. And at any point, if one of these pieces gets off balance, it can throw the whole rest of the piece off. So we're not going into detail here. I just want you to realize that everything is connected. And when one thing gets off balance, it can throw the other things off balance as well. Today, what we're really focusing on is the thyroid, the adrenals, and the sex hormones. I look at these three as really the foundation, and I see them as kind of a three-legged stool. If any one of these is getting off, it's going to throw the other ones off. So if your thyroid's out of whack, your adrenals may have to work harder, and we need to look at all of these. So you may have gone to a doctor and you may have had your hormones tested in the past, but it's really important to get the full picture. Have you gotten all of these tested? Have you looked at all of these areas? Because they're all really important for you to be able to reach all of your health goals and feel your very best. So as I was creating this presentation, I had a patient that really came to mind. So this was a patient who came to me recently, 40-year-old female. She's a mom of two. She's married. She's working full time, trying to do it all, which I think a lot of us can relate to, right? Life is freaking busy these days. So she had gone to her OBGYN and told him that she was feeling just really tired abnormally. Usually she had some energy. So feeling really tired, she was noticing that her mood had changed a little bit, experiencing a little bit of depression. She had never had a history of depression. Her libido or her sex drive was non-existent, as she told me. She was not sleeping well. She was starting to kind of feel what I call this wired and tired, where she's tired throughout the day, then it's time to go to bed, and all of a sudden her thoughts were racing. She was really frustrated about the weight gain. She was a marathoner, and so she'd always been working out a lot. She was no longer running marathons, but very active, no change in her eating habits, and she was starting to gain just this extra pounds around her midsection. She was also noticing some hair loss, more hair in the drain when she was showering, and then her cycles were a little bit irregular. She said that she'd had really regular cycles, and then was starting to notice some PMS symptoms, so getting really moody around her cycle, cramping. None of this had she had before. She basically felt like she was going crazy. Like, oh my God, my life is turned upside down. Who am I? I don't even recognize myself, and I'm super frustrated. So her PCP or her OBGYN, she told him this, and he said, well, this is normal. You're in perimenopause. Your hormones are changing, so this is to be expected. And you can start on an antidepressant for your mood, and we can get you on the birth control pill again. She hadn't been on it for many years because she had her kids and didn't need to be back on it. Said we can get you back on the birth control pill, and that should fix things and regulate the cycle. And she said, no, that just doesn't feel right to me. So that's when she came into my office. So we went over everything, and I told her she's exactly right. She's not crazy. Her hormones are probably totally out of whack, and let's get to the bottom of it so we can get you feeling better. There are other solutions than just having to settle for feeling bad. All right, so I want to start with the adrenals. So in that little triangular three-legged stool that we talked about before, the adrenals are such a huge foundation. When we think adrenals, a lot of us are thinking stress. So I know when I look at this, I could probably tick off 10 of these right away. I'm assuming most of you can see this as well, right? Lack of sleep, irritating foods, stress, financial stuff, too much exercise, too little exercise. You name it, it's a stress on our body, right? And some of these are in our control, but some of them are not really. So we need to look at how we can support your stress response. And our little adrenal glands are doing so much work. So let's talk about these little guys. Adrenal glands are basically these little walnut-sized glands that sit on top of your kidneys, and they are truly a powerhouse for your endocrine or your hormonal system. They are affecting our stress response, like we said. So this is the adrenaline, we think fight or flight, and then cortisol. They're also regulating our sleep patterns. So cortisol is supposed to rise in the morning and fall in the evening. It can get completely out of whack. And this happens all the time. And basically, cortisol kind of gets this bad rap, but really we need it to be in balance. It's also vitally important for your immune system. And that could not be more important than right now, right? We all want to try to stay healthy, prevent all these. It's like cold and flu season. We've had COVID. So we just want to make sure that we're functioning at optimal levels. Adrenals are also going to affect our mood. So sometimes when we've been having these changes, feeling a little more anxious, we have to look at the adrenal glands, and these are so often overlooked. So give your adrenals a little thank you, and then we're going to talk about how we can kind of support them. All right, so this picture is to show you that basically when we think adrenals, we think fight or flight, right? Well, fight or flight, if we were back in the day and we're running from a tiger, that should only last like a short amount of time, right? You either ran and you got away or you didn't make it. And so we now live in this world where, as we saw before on that previous slide, we've got constant stress. And our body doesn't necessarily know, well, this financial stress is going to last you for, days on end. It's thinking, okay, we're stressed out. We need to survive all of this. And it's going to put all of its effort into keeping that going, which means it's not going to put its effort into some of the other hormones. So common symptoms of adrenal burnout. I would say 90% of my patients could check off several of these boxes whenever they come into the office. So stress, anxiety, and irritability. What about that difficulty waking up in the morning? For me, I know I start to get stressed out, and sugar and salt cravings, like my popcorn and chip consumption goes way up, and I can tell, I'm getting burnt out. It's also going to affect that like energy crash that we have sometimes after lunch, where you finish work and you're at work, you're like, I just need to get home. I could lay my head on the table and go to sleep right now. Then you get home, it's time to wind down, and you've got those racing thoughts, and then you're not sleeping well. Suppressed immune system. Are you getting every single little thing that your kids bring home from school? Let's look at those adrenals. So I think most of us can relate to these, right? So let's talk about Supermom, that patient that I mentioned that we're going to kind of follow throughout this presentation. So we tested her adrenal function, which I want to test on most anybody who's coming in for hormone imbalance in general. Her cortisol levels were actually not as good as we would like them in the morning, but they weren't horrible. So we just brought in some nutrients to support her adrenal function. And then we also brought in some herbs, and herbs are amazing for adrenals. What I love about herbs is that they all have kind of specific things that they do. So this can be really individualized. If someone's feeling really tired throughout the day and they just need a little bit more of an umph, then we've got herbs that are going to be more energizing and kind of get you going. If someone is feeling like anxious, zipped all day, we have herbs that are a little more calming. So we created an herbal mix for her. And within a week, she was saying that she didn't have that afternoon crash where she gets home from work and she was just like, I need to take a nap. So that improved almost immediately, really within a week, which was fabulous. All right, so then next we look at the next piece of that three-legged stool we were talking about, and that is thyroid. So most of you have probably heard of the thyroid, and most of you have probably had it tested. And literally the thyroid is influencing every single cell in our body. This is our cell's metabolism. So I love this picture because this is actually a woman, and I think she's a famous actress. Some of you may or may not recognize her, but this is her literally before she was treated for her low thyroid. And you can notice that like puffiness in her face, right? It's just kind of this general puffiness. She doesn't look great. Then she gets on to her balanced thyroid. You can see everything just kind of went down, looks so much better. I see hypothyroid or low thyroid in my office literally every single day. Things that you are kind of like these classic symptoms of low thyroid would be weight gain. It makes it really hard to lose weight if your thyroid is off. So maybe it's not you, right? You're still exercising, you're doing all your stuff. Your thyroid's out of whack, and we just need to assess it and then fix it. Super easy. Puffy all over. Hair loss. Ladies, you should be getting your thyroid checked every single year. It's absolutely affecting your hair growth. And so if you're noticing more hair loss, this is definitely a piece that we need to evaluate. Constipation, it can change our menstrual cycle. It's really big for mood too. I recently had a patient who had been on antidepressants for a long time, and we looked at her thyroid. It was horribly low. We got her balanced, and she was actually able to get off of her antidepressants. Everyone's going to be different, but it just goes to show this is such a huge contributor for mood. So thyroid. All right. This is one of my big pet peeves. And I hear this all the time. People come in like, well, yeah, I've had my thyroid tested. My doctor said everything's fine, but I feel tired. I'm gaining weight. I'm constipated. My hair is falling out. My skin's dry. Okay, well, let's take a deeper look. So if you notice, we've got these lab ranges here, right? It's going from one spectrum all the way to the other. I don't want you just normal. I want you optimal. So my ranges are actually a lot pickier, a lot smaller, because that's where I find people actually feel their best. Their body is functioning their best. I don't want you just normal. The other thing is that if you've had your thyroid tested throughout the years and you're starting to kind of move towards one end or the other, usually it's towards the higher end, your thyroid's kind of slowing down. Why do we have to wait until you're out of range to start treating you? No, let's address it now and get you feeling good. You don't have to settle for feeling like crap. And on top of my levels being, my numbers being a little bit more specific of where I want you, I'm also going to be testing additional pieces. So once again, you were told everything is fine, but you feel like crap. Well, doesn't mean you just deal with it. No, let's get you feeling better. Most blood tests that a naturopathic doctor will look at are never even ordered by other physicians. And if they are, they're often interpreted differently, like we were talking about. So here I just want to point out that TSH, which is usually what people are testing for the thyroid, is absolutely not the whole picture. Our thyroid actually produces T3 and T4 hormones. And when we measure these, we get a much clearer picture of how well your thyroid is actually functioning. Another key that I almost always test, at least with my new patients, is your autoimmune antibodies. Hashimoto's or autoimmune thyroid is the #1 reason for low thyroid in women. So let's get to the root cause. Let's see what's causing your low thyroid, and we can address this as well. So once again, we're getting to the root. We're going to do a full assessment, and we're not waiting until you feel like crap or your numbers are out of range to get you feeling good. All right. So when with my super mom patient, that's what I'm calling her, we looked at her thyroid, and her thyroid levels actually were, her TSH, which we looked at before, was quote unquote normal, but her T3 and her T4 levels were actually on the low end, and her T4, in fact, was actually measuring as low. So it was even out of my range. It was out of the actual lab range. Had we not tested that, she would have never known, and she would have just gone about thinking, oh, thyroid's functioning fine. So we got her on some thyroid medication, which has T3 and T4 hormones in it. And immediately her hair loss started to improve, and she noticed a big boost in her energy. So that's the importance of looking a little bit deeper. All right, drum roll. The moment you guys have been waiting for. Sex hormones. Okay, so sex hormones, it's all about balance. It doesn't matter if you are still cycling, it doesn't matter if you're in perimenopause or you're in menopause. It's all about the balance, and our hormones are playing a key in every aspect of our health. So the good news that we are living a lot longer. The bad news is that our hormones are not joining us, right? They are starting to get depleted. And there is no point in your life where it's just normal or acceptable that you should have to feel like crap. So we're living longer. Let's get ourselves feeling healthy throughout that entire time. And that's where really balancing our hormones and sometimes hormone replacement comes into play. Okay, so if you're still cycling, first of all, I just loved this little cartoon because I don't know if anybody else can relate, but I thought it was hilarious and I can definitely relate. She's like, I'm fine. I hate you. I love you. I want ice cream. Come here. Get away. Oranges? Yeah. So many times, and that's part of, like just the title of this. It's not you. It's your hormones. You can feel crazy. And you're like, what is going on? Let's get your hormones balanced and you can probably feel so much better. So for those women who are still cycling, I would say the most common things that I see as far as hormone imbalances would be too much estrogen, which looks like, symptom picture, weight gain, really heavy menses. You could have joint pain, lumpy breasts, migraines, those cyclical migraines that can come, when there's cycles happening, low libido, PMS symptoms. And then a lot of these women can also have other conditions like endometriosis and fibroids that are directly related to that level of your hormones. PCOS, really common. A lot of people are not diagnosed for this on time. So this is a really important thing for us to look deeper into. Oftentimes this has people who have irregular or no cycles at all, or super heavy cycles. They're bleeding for 3 weeks. You can have that extra facial hair growth, acne, weight gain, all of this. Let's think hormones, get it balanced, and we can get people feeling so much better. All right, what about the pre and post menopause stage? This is when our hormones are starting to kind of decline or just, go a little up here, a little down. So lots of changes, but I want you to take a look at these symptoms, and you are not crazy. If you're feeling any of these, it's hormonal. Let's get to the bottom of it. So we've got low estrogen symptoms, hot flashes, night sweats. What about the vaginal dryness? I have this all the time in women. Or you're getting up several times in the night to use the restroom, and then you're not able to get back to sleep. We need to think estrogen. Depression, and then low progesterone I see this, this is one of the most common things, is insomnia, anxiety, irritability, just kind of like zzz. Progesterone is our calming hormone. I can't tell you how many people we get onto a good balanced amount of progesterone, and all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, I'm sleeping well again. I haven't slept well in so long. And my hair is growing back. Ladies, this is another piece we need to look at. So if you're experiencing some hair loss that is not, normal or kind of out of the blue, then we need to look at your progesterone. This is a key player, and it's so often overlooked. And then testosterone. So testosterone is not just for men. Men, when you're here too, we need to look at your testosterone. This is key for you, right? But ladies, it's key for you as well. Hugely important for libido. Having, just the decreased sexual desire, overall sexual satisfaction, hugely important with that testosterone. But on top of that, it's also really important for your mood and your energy level and just that clear thinking, right? Kind of your gusto, your get up and go. I also noticed too that when we get the testosterone balance for both men and women, Then when you start putting in that effort in the gym, all of a sudden you start getting those results again that you've been wanting. So this is that one of those underlying factors we're not thinking about. You could be working out freaking every single day, and then it's no results. We get your hormones balanced, and all of a sudden you're feeling great in the gym again. So this is, you're not crazy if you're feeling any of these things. Let's look at your hormones. All right, let's go back to Supermom. So what did her labs show? Her estrogen levels were actually still looking pretty good, but her progesterone levels were really low, which was probably affecting those irregular cycles that she was having and that PMS. We added in a nightly progesterone capsule. She said that her sleep almost immediately got better, and that her cycle, her PMS got so much better on that next round of when she had her cycle again. Her testosterone was literally gone. So when we measured it on the labs, it literally said less than 2, meaning it was like there's nothing there. So we brought in we started with a testosterone troche or lozenge. This is just a little thing that you dissolve underneath your tongue. And so basically we brought that in. She noticed a huge improvement really quickly. Within a couple weeks, she was feeling much, much better. So I'll kind of follow up with her at the end of exactly what happened, how she felt, but we noticed some big deficits and imbalances in her hormones as far as her sex hormones go. All right. So I get this question a lot, and it's like, well, why are we changing a normal life occurrence? You know, if we're entering our menopausal years, our hormones are supposed to be going down. Well, hello, hormones are actually really important for more things, first of all, than just your symptoms. I don't think you should be having to feel like crap anyway, but let's talk about all the benefits that they have. So estrogen is actually really important for your brain function, for bone strength. So ladies, I have a lot of patients coming into the office who have had a bone scan, and they either had osteopenia or just some decrease in their bone density. And hormones are really good at keeping your bones strong and healthy. I have actually had patients who we got them on the right nutrients and balanced their hormones, and their bones actually increased in density. So the numbers actually improved, which oftentimes people say, oh, that's just not going to happen. It can happen, and it's really important. Estrogen is important for our cardiovascular health, and it prevents wrinkles. So think about, it's really good for our joints, so collagen production, but also collagen is in our skin, it's everywhere. So when we get those levels balanced, I will often have women say, yeah, you know what, and I just feel like my skin feels more plump. My wrinkles look a little bit less prominent. So good stuff all around. So this is why we're treating people, right? We want to keep you healthy throughout. Progesterone. It's really important to have a balance of both the estrogen and progesterone. So when we're looking at these, that's one of our big pieces that we're looking for. But progesterone, like I said before, is really the calming hormone. So I think of this when people are feeling more anxious, you're having insomnia, bring in some progesterone. Usually it improves your sleep, calms anxiety. Like we talked about before, it increases scalp hair. It's a natural antidepressant, anti-inflammatory. And when balanced properly with progesterone and estrogen, you're actually decreasing the risk of breast and uterine cancer. So that's also a very important piece. And then finally, testosterone. So important for both men and women, and different levels with each of them, but hugely important for libido. I can't tell you how many people come in and that's one of their main concerns, right? Both men and women. And if you have no testosterone, that's going to greatly affect it. So libido, sexual interest, but also like we talked about before, your muscle mass, your strength, your memory, huge for the brain, right? And we all want to be as, sharp as we can for as long as we can. And this is also helping the skin from sagging. So this is hugely important for everybody. All right, so let's see here. I get this question a lot, is hormone replacement safe? So I just wanted to touch on this, that anything that I'm going to be giving you is going to be bioidentical hormones. So this means that they have the exact same molecular structure as what your own body would be producing. So this means that they're made in basically a soy or yam, and it's going to look exactly the same. So your body's not going to really know the difference, right? Previously, and this is when a lot of the studies were conducted, they were using conjugated equine estrogens, AKA made from horse urine. They were horse estrogens. Yuck, no, no, no. That is not the same as what humans are making. And that also did not work the same in the body. So anything we're using is bioidentical. The other piece about this is the progestin is not the same as progesterone. This is what you find in oral birth control pills, and they're actually associated with an increase in cancer risk. Not what we are using here. We're using bioidentical progesterone. So I just wanted to note those pieces because I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. All right, so there's a lot of different ways that we bring hormones in for people. Oral supplements, I do not like oral supplements for estrogen, and that means like a pill that you swallow. Not best results, not necessarily the safest way. So, but for progesterone, I love an oral progesterone. It can be so helpful, like I said before, with sleep. And testosterone and also estrogen, other ones can be made into, like we used with my patient, these little troches. These are little lozenges that dissolve under your tongue. Great way to get your hormones. We also have creams, just topically applied. They're effective for all hormones. You do want to be aware that these can transfer to family members or pets. And these are daily applications, right? So whether you're dissolving something under your tongue, you're taking a pill, it's going to be something you do each day. Now, injections, this is really for only testosterone. Usually we do it every week, but once again, kind of like some of these daily, you're getting this spike and then it will slowly go down, and then a spike and it go down. So these peaks and valleys, a little bit of a roller coaster. There's nothing wrong with these, but sometimes people want to feel a little bit more balanced with it. So then we also have pellets, and I would say these are one of my favorites for the estrogen and testosterone. I get great results with these. They're basically these little rice-sized pellets that are placed in the buttock, just below the skin. They last for about 3 to 4 months. And that means you don't have to think about doing anything every day. You get a constant flow of hormones, so it's just much more balanced release of them. And you come in 4 months, we put another one in, and a lot of people find these to be really helpful as well. But there is no right or wrong. The wonderful thing is that it's all about the individual. What is going to work best for you? And that's where it really comes into working together to get you feeling your best and what's going to fit your schedule. So I wanted to follow up with my super mom patient. We started her, like I said, on some of that adrenal support. We put her on that testosterone lozenge, and then she was taking a nightly progesterone capsule and some hormone, thyroid hormone. And then we also talked a little bit about diet, lifestyle stuff. She wasn't necessarily eating enough protein every day, so we had her increase her protein. She was doing this, and she said she had never felt better. She's like, I feel like myself again. I'm feeling pretty good. My libido could use just a smidgen more, but she was feeling like a whole new woman. Then she fell off of her treatment. Life got a little crazy. She was like, it's hard for me to remember to take my lozenge for my testosterone in the morning. I'm pretty good at taking my nighttime stuff. So we decided to switch her to pellets. And now she's back on. Her hair growth came back. She shed those pounds. She was able to get into the gym, and she was feeling like, back to herself, working out hard. Mood improved. She didn't need that antidepressant. She felt so much better. Her irritability was gone. Her energy, no crash throughout the day, and she was sleeping at night. I mean, she just felt like she was back to herself again. And that's really what my goal is, to get you guys feeling your very best. There is no time where you should have to feel like crap. So this was just a fun case that I worked with, and I wanted to share with you guys because I think a lot of us can relate to her. So what are some things that you can do now? First of all, if any of these things that we talked about sound like you, or you can relate, or someone you know, let's get your hormones evaluated. Let's see what's going on. It's time to come in. There are some things you can do at home. So taking care of your liver, detox stuff, where our livers are processing so much. So be kind to your liver, stay hydrated. Some stress balance to take care of your adrenals and your thyroid. Make some you time. Exercising, really important. Get that movement in every day. Eat lots of veggies and clean protein, really cutting out the sugar. That is a key. Everybody can benefit from that. Sleep, trying to make a good schedule for your sleep. And then lastly, have fun. 2020 has been a tough year for all of us. And I think we're all ready to start 2021 off on the right foot, feeling better. So make sure that, you laugh, spend time with friends and family, and make this the year that you get your health on track. So that concludes my presentation. There is an offer, like I said, at the end of this. So I'm going to put that up for you guys. And then also any questions, I'd love to, I see some of you guys have added some here. So I'll take a moment to answer any questions here. Okay, so we've got a great question about some common, or do we often have a conventional doc that may have diagnosed you with a condition that really the underlying problem was actually hormonal. So obviously each individual is different, right? So we need to evaluate, but absolutely yes. So I have people who are diagnosed with depression or anxiety, or they're diagnosed with, like irregular cycle stuff, or even, sexual things like having erectile dysfunction, something like that. And we finally look at the hormones, and it actually was a hormonal issue to begin with. And when we get those hormones balanced, those symptoms actually improve. So maybe you don't actually have depression, you don't actually have anxiety. When the hormones are balanced, those are resolved. So that's a great question. And yes, absolutely, there are a lot of things that look like something else, and it's really a hormonal imbalance underneath. And so as far as, we have another great question as far as estrogen and progesterone positive in cancer in your history. And some of these, basically everyone's going to be individualized. If it depends on what kind of, cancer was there. If it was a estrogen or progesterone positive, then we likely won't use hormones for you. But the good news is we don't have to use hormones. We have herbs, we have nutrients, we have so many pieces that we can do to get you feeling better. So you're not stuck with feeling like crap because you can't do certain treatments. We have a solution for everybody. And maybe there's different hormones that we can use. What's your thyroid looking like? What's your testosterone looking like? So that's a great question. It's very individualized, but there's no set rules of what we can and we can't do. There's always an option for somebody, okay? Oh, this is a wonderful question. Can someone overcome Hashimoto's, or is it something you have to live with? So Hashimoto's, for those of you who are not aware, is basically autoimmune thyroid, where your body is kind of attacking your own thyroid. And we have so many great treatments to get those antibodies down. I have seen, and I have had patients whose antibodies were very elevated and really wreaking havoc on their thyroid. And we implemented diet and lifestyle changes. We brought in nutrients. We brought in the proper thyroid hormone and medications as needed. And I have seen the antibodies go back down to normal. So technically, if they stayed down, then hey, your thyroid should be functioning well. So absolutely, we can overcome Hashimoto's. It is not something you have to live with. We've got plenty of treatments. Okay, so I think there's no other questions. I'm going to post this little offer for you guys here. And if anyone has any additional stuff that they're interested in or questions, feel free to call the office. And I do offer a free 15-minute meet and greet for my new patients. And we can see if we'd be a good fit. I so appreciate you guys joining me today, listening. It is such a pleasure to be able to share this information with you all, and I appreciate your time. And please reach out to us. We love hearing from you, and it was such a pleasure to speak to you all today. And I hope you guys have a great day. Oh, and let me just make sure the offer should have been posted into your little chat box, and it's $50 off of a new patient visit. So for those of you who have not, are not my current patients, take advantage of this. Now's the time to schedule, and you'll get $50 off of a new patient visit. So take advantage. If you have any issues with clicking on this, it should just be able to click on it and it will take you to the website to register. But if you have any issues, just post your questions and someone will be able to help you. So thank you all so much. I really appreciate it.